Hi everyone, so happy to be here today and to talk about how local dominance and how brokers can win in their market. And I have a panel full of superstars and I want to let them, of course, introduce themselves, but I'll introduce myself first. I'm Michelle Harrington, I'm the CEO of First Team Real Estate. We're a Southern California primary company, but we just started branching out to Washington State and Idaho, and we have about 2,000 agents, very focused on local real estate, obviously. And I want to introduce my panelists. Tristan, you want to go ahead and tell us a little bit about your market, where you are, and all that good stuff?
Thanks, Michelle. Happy to be here. I'm Tristan, been in real estate for 21 years. I'm mostly out of Los Angeles, Ventura County, California. Just opened up a brokerage out here, and I still serve as the CEO of Lab Code Agents.
Awesome. Deanne, tell us a little bit about you, where you're at, your market, and what you do.
My pleasure. Good afternoon, everyone. Deanne Golden, President and CEO of Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, Georgia Properties. I'm coming to you today from Atlanta. We have the privilege of serving in 26 markets in our state of Georgia. Got about right at 1,300 sales professionals. And Tristan, like you, I've been around this a while. In my 30th year as a licensed realtor and broker, and around the business, I like to say nearly 4.5 decades as a second generation broker with a mother that was in the business. Seeing it all come and go in the cycles. Glad to be here.
Nice, thank you, Deanne. So, and we also have our sponsor, Brian from Lofty, has been sponsoring this episode that you're seeing today. So Brian, you want to give us a couple words?
Yeah, I'm Brian Hoyleman. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer for Lofty. I've been in the space now 22 years, going back to early day when we sold websites via fax machine. So I could just tell you that it's been a long time in the space working with brokers, agents, teams, enterprise brokers like First Team over the years, and working with Tristan and a lot of people in the space. I'm happy to be here and enjoy having everybody on this call, and it's going to be a fun time.
Awesome. Well, there's so much going on in the real estate world right now, and I want to get into that, but not the first question. My first question for you guys is, you are all local brokers. You're hyper local, focused on your communities. How do you dominate in that space? And I'm gonna start with you, Tristan. Tell me how you dominate in the local brokerage space.
I love that question, especially with Compass announcing that they're going to acquire Anywhere, which is great. I think where we start is we look online to see what's happening online. Where are people gravitating to? And it's still Google, #1, YouTube, #2, Facebook, Instagram, and now ChatGPT. And that can really help us lay the ground and say, all right, well, where is it that we're actually going to focus? And for me, that was an easy jump into Lofty, which was Chime back in the day, right? But I'm like, wait a second, they align with everything because I'm doing Google PPC, or the team at the time, now the brokerage. Then I'm also doing Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram. And on top of that, I can connect my YouTube and showcase anything that I have along there in the same place. And now they've got AI. To me, you've got to take a look as a broker, broker owner, team leader. Are you tackling those 5? Because that's where the consumer is. And then that's how I break it down. What about you, Deanne?
I have to agree with you. We've got to meet our people where they're at, right? And they're there in the palm of their hands. So being able to own and continually evolve with the technology that, as I always say, should just be augmenting our ability to deepen the relationship. Because for me, no matter whether it was just getting introduced to the first website or email or BlackBerry or fax or whatever we have seen through the years, or the first Alexa 10 years ago, right, that was introducing us to the search engine, you know, you become dominant and you stay dominant by owning the relationship. And you use these technologies to be able to meet the people where they need to be to communicate. And as I know, we're going to have fun talking today about how it's shifted over time. You got to be able to skate to the pucks, as Wayne Gretzky says, and know and not be waiting to find out where they're at. So, you know, we like you, Tristan, have spent a lot of time investing in the technology side, but I'm going to always be the one to say I'm going to marry the high tech with the high touch and keep the people relationship part at the core, especially for hyperlocalism.
Yeah, so I feel like in our space, we've been dominant in Orange County for the last 20 years, and a lot of it has to do with just attracting the right agents. And we definitely look for a certain type of agents, an agent that wants to grow, an agent that wants to build a team, an agent that wants to really dominate in their market, and then in turn it helps us dominate in ours. What do you guys do to attract agents? I'll start with you, Tristan.
For us, it really comes down to how we capture the consumer. Well, and I like to think of it as I like to think of it like a team, right? So when I was running a team or even an individual agent, my number one challenge is prospecting and bringing in people that want to transact, right? If you're looking at how Redfin was acquired by Rocket just a couple of months ago officially, we're taking a look at a change. And now obviously we mentioned Compass, right? But we're taking a look at a slight change when companies, brokerages used to be more agent centric. It now has to shift over to consumer, right? And if we can bring that consumer indirectly for our agents, all of a sudden that recruiting issue is solved. We just have to tell a better story, right? Because like Deanne said, our number one job is to help our agents maintain relationships long-term, because it's never going to change. It's definitely the key. And so when I look at things like this, Brian, when I'm looking at recruiting, how do you think Lofty solves this? Because I think I know how it solves it, but how do you think it solves it?
You know, we've talked about this, and I'm working with your broker a little bit right now on this. And so for what we're talking about is, at the end of the day, we have agents and what they want, and we also have consumers and what they want. And right now, the agent is in the middle of that. The loan officer is in the middle between the two things, right? So what agents want are consumers. Now, what we're talking about, what's most important, is search to settlement. The thing that's what's driving the business is being able to take search early on. With the commission lawsuit, you can get into a relationship early. You could put them into a buyer agency agreement now under contract. That's a shift that's never happened in the space that's required now. At the same time, that means listing agreements now are more important. So it's actually put the agent in the last year at the direct center like never before. How you have to do that is hyperlocalism and providing a tech stack that connects people to that local engaged process, both print, media, social, direct marketing, charity events, connecting on your personal pages, not just your search pages. And what it's allowing us to do is recruit agents that do a good job of that and to empower them with the tech stack that automates it. So it's really selling a picture to the agent that's going to attract them, that does a lot of this hard work for them. So really it's attracting agents, is connecting to people, which is turning back the clock to how things used to be done, rather than buy a bunch of internet leads that no one wants to deal with. We really want to connect them to people, and our tech stacks with AI, it's never been easier before with the right holistic approach within hyperlocalism. And so when I came back to the space, Trisha, real quick, and I'll hit it over to Deanne, is I saw a search to settlement as the primary, because of TPC lawsuit and permission to contact legally a lead, as the single biggest asset agents have is the people they relationship with. And we want to build a tech stack around the relationship. And that's what Lofty's all about right now, is building a tech stack around the homeowner, the renter, and the agent relationship, with the lender connecting a seamless one-to-one relationship forever. So creating lifetime value around one relationship at a time.
Yeah, so Deanne, how about you? How do you feel like you attract agents?
Well, listening to both Brian and Tristan, I mean, that resonates, because they're talking about the marriage of the technology piece and the value proposition that we can provide our agents who are, as independent contractors, are building their own business. As you say, building your own empire. I love how you say that, Michelle, and growing to the next level. But it brings back to the people, and being in the industry in our company for 63 years. I mean, that sounds old, right? No, that shows resistance, resilience. That shows that we have been able to evolve during whatever the market cycle, no matter what the interest rates, no matter what the inventory level, no matter what the news headlines were. You know, we want to be here for the people. And I'm really passionate in the industry about not just being there for one transaction, and the agents that we, you know, moreover, who we retain, because those are the people that make us who we are, right? And then by the people that are here and a part of us and who really bring our culture to life, then hopefully we're going to be able to continue to attract those right people with like-minded professionalism that are not just going to be there for one moment in time, one shiny penny, one shiny tech tool, one shiny transaction, but through the complete evolution from the very first home, I always say from launch to legacy for our agents' careers, from them launching their industry, their business with us, or coming to us and launching the next step, to building a legacy that's one day a, you know, 40x kind of scalable, repeatable, sellable business. And Brian, I mean, I can't help but just chime in on being able, what you're doing with the integration piece, because it is complex, buying and selling a home and listening to the needs of our consumers. And so the more we can make it more seamless and take all the answers that they're getting through all the AI and all the Google and all the chat and be able to simplify it and interpret it and really help them understand what's the right path for them. I think that's what today's agent is seeking, is that kind of all-in-one integrated ability to have the technology, but moreover, powered by the people and the integrity and the culture there, so they feel a part of a family as they're welcoming individuals and families into their communities.
No, exactly. It's all about opening your tech stack to not just say, hey, you're forcing something down the agent to stay. It is all an operating system is what I like to think about. And your operating system has to play nice with other potential verticals and AI and the way AI is working is vertical AI and things like that. It has to be a horizontal vertical. So the whole point of this is to create an open source that agents can come to as an operating system that stitches everything together in one cohesive search to settlement platform. It's bottom line.
Yeah, so one thing we just learned fairly recently is Compass acquiring Anywhere, and I think that definitely has an effect on the local brokers, the you know, regional players and the people who are sitting in those seats. And I wanted to see what your take on that is. Do you think it's gonna be better for the industry, worse for the industry, better for you? And I'll kick it off with Tristan.
I think it shifts the attention a little bit, because you go to how the stock market saw it first, because you know money's the thing that talks. You see two things. You see Anywhere stock shot up, obviously, right? It shot up dramatically, and then you saw Compass's stock drop, right? But I think overall the stock is probably going to continue to go up, because this is what they see. This is why they're purchasing, and this is why Rocket purchased Redfin, and this is why Zillow Flex has been so popular, right? In the world, in our world, and in the financial world, is because they're in essence going direct to the consumer, and they're solving for that again, right? The biggest challenge for us that we've been stuck on is that we're having the agents do the prospecting this whole time, right? And now we're watching it shift slowly right in front of us and saying, wait a second, the power is with the brokerage bringing in leads. Is that easy? I'm like, yeah, it actually is. Look at Redfin. If you don't tackle this soon, it's not just going to be Redfin and Zillow and Compass. It's going to be everyone else. And then the other piece to this that I see, depending on where this all goes, is Compass has got that 3-phase marketing plan. One of the phases means they're going to market this listing before it hits the MLS. How does it change our world if now they own Anywhere, right? Like, we're talking Coldwell Banker, C21, Better Homes and Gardens, Sotheby's, Corcoran, and Compass. What the hell happens to the playing field? That's a question I have. I don't know the answer to. But you know, Deanne, what do you think about all this?
Well, I was recently in a presentation and the presenter did a collage of all the headlines and news, just even in the past 2 years, right? So let's just not even go over the history of the past 10 or since the downturn in the market. You know, there's going to be something on the news today, tomorrow. There has been yesterday and the day before. And so, you know, how it plays out, those are not necessarily things that I can control in my local market, right? I mean, this is national. But I'll go back to what I said in the beginning that, you know, market share, that may be a number, but to the person that we're helping, we do about 8,000 transactions a year, but to the person or the family, the individual that we're bringing in, you know, they're not necessarily maybe thinking market share. They're thinking who owns the mind share, who is that trusted local real estate consultant that I have known that's been there that I can trust. So one of the things that I would just caution everyone is don't get distracted by the noise. You got to be aware, you got to be alert, but you know, control the controllables that you can control. And in your street, your block, I mean, that's how you remain dominant. It's not going to be on the national, but what are you doing for? I know today we probably have more brokers listening than agents, although, you know, kudos to all of our agents listening to this broker segment. You know, we as brokers need to be working with our agents on what are we doing each and every day to turn off the news, be aware, sure. What are you doing today to affect the lifestyles of the people we're privileged to serve? What are you doing today to help the wealth accumulation through real estate, the greatest investment that we've ever seen to help your people and build your sustainable business? And so that's my 2 cents. Now, if we all had a fortune ball, that would have been a funny thing to look back on over all the years we've been in this and see how it played out. But, you know, to me, having been doing this as long as I have, the consumer, when you sit down at their dinner table or they're in your car, do they really read the headlines? And if they do they really understand what it means to my ability and my agent's ability to serve them to the fullest and with the full integrated approach and with all the technology that we empower? And moreover, is it going to be the agent that utilizes all the resources that they're given and they have and they're improving their skills? And so back to the individualism of an agent, you know, who owns the relationship. And that's what we're going to keep focused on no matter what the news is today and tomorrow.
Michelle, can I just jump in?
Real quick before I call on you, Brian, what I see the biggest difference is the agents we're limiting their choice. So not everybody wants to work for a big, huge, giant company with a publicly traded board of directors. You know, it really carves out a company like ours, a company like yours. So you have a choice now. We're going to be the scarcity ones. We're going to be the ones that actually rise to the top, that we can be the alternative to this monster. And I want to be the alternative to the monster. I'm excited about that. I think agents are going to be even more attracted to the anti-monster. And so, you know, I think it's a great, really, really good opportunity for local dominance. I mean, we talk about this webinar is about local dominance. This is how we become locally dominant, because we become the anti-monster. So, Brian, what do you think?
I can't agree with everybody, and I cannot agree more with you, Michelle. So one of the things that I would say is that what's happened, and we look at it, it's already happened, and it's already been in New York. There was no MLS for years, and then they opted out of the MLS for years. So there was that. You had no internet before, and we did deals just fine. And so, but real estate's always been about what you said, Deanne, is the relationship. 92% of all transactions, 92% happen directly with an agent, not online. So they come with flyers, mailers, postcards, volunteering at the local market, except for 85% of CRMs out there don't generate leads, and 65% of agents have websites, don't generate a single lead with their website. So what we really have is a marketing problem and a hyper-local marketing problem, because the tools that we do are not marketing and advertising centric tools like a Lofty and some maybe other vendors that are out there. We have all the marketing within one single source. So it's really about marketing and advertising hyper-local that drives that. And to your point, Michelle, what's really, really important is what you just said, which is most of the business is done with a local presence, and they don't want the big guys. They want that personal attention. And agents are looking for personal attention. So I've already seen some of, like a lot of organizations, 100% shops, transaction-based shops that are offering tech stacks that are marketing driven are going to eat up that big brick mortar business. They're going to, that's what I would be going after. Right now, if I were on this call, I had a non-franchise related to these guys, I had a First Team and some of those businesses we all work in. And even if you're in that big behemoth, they still operate independently. You have independent contractors. We should be empowering those independent contractors to create personal wealth. And they only do that through personal relationships. So what we believe in is CRM of choice, marketing system of choice, open choice. And what we're finding, what we've done is allow for that brand initiative where you don't have to lock yourself in the Lofty. Put us in the tech stack. We'll go mano a mano with your existing tech stack and open it up. Give your agents a choice. And that will attract the agents with the ability to use maybe half of what we have plus something that you might have somewhere else because it's integrated. So it's the idea of choice and not forcing agents down an ineffective path. So I would say that to your point, Michelle, is that brokers that are not locked into that big corporate sense that only want to offer their tech stack and that's all they're going to offer, that pigeonholes agents into less production. Whereas you as an independent broker or open local, you have the ability to give your agents some freedom of really solid opportunities and choice to create wealth. And that's your really big attraction. And that's going to be perfect to get those consumers in because you have a variety, a Swiss Army knife of value. And that's what's really going to help your agents be more productive.
Yeah, I love that. I love the idea of choice, and we just rebuilt our tech stack, and we've always wanted to do that. Unfortunately, a lot of vendors don't play fair with other vendors, and it's harder, easier said than done. But I love that idea, and that's the one thing we can do that a Compass or Anywhere can't do because they build their tech. You know what I mean? Where we can buy the best in tech, and I think that is an advantage too. What do you think about that, Tristan? Have you explored that? Oh, you're on mute.
There we go.
Yeah.
I think when we're looking at companies like Lofty and other ones that help us compete with these bigger brokerages, I think it's important to look at the fact that they actually have a massive reach as well. Because if I take a look at Lofty, we've got over 100,000 users. That's pretty crazy that they can go and say, got it, we learned this from over there. We learned this from this, and we're bringing it to you, Mr. Brokerage of 500 agents, 8,000 agents, whatever it is. Then all of a sudden it evens the playing field for us because it allows us to play against and I love the other companies. I love competition, but it allows us to play with Keller Williams, right? It allows us to play with now Compass and that conglomerate. So for us, it evens out the playing field, and it's like Google. Like all of a sudden, I can go everywhere. I can have a massive presence on social media. I can have a massive presence and do a lot of things as a single agent because of AI. To me, it's just an amazing tool to be able to do that and compete. That's how I see it. Ian, what do you bring to this? What do you think?
Well, I'm so blessed. I've got the best of both worlds. I've got a large parent company, Home Services of America, backing the local Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Georgia properties. And, we are able to really specialize in being local. And I take such pride in the fact that we are Georgia here. Now we have the benefit of being able to have national connections, just like, anyone could refer, so forth. But I'm going to hone in and take us a little different about the fact that because of being local, what we're training our agents today, whether it's search engine optimization and we're doing it for them, or answer engine optimization, or just basic talking point scripting skills, the basics will never change, and they still have to be trained, and they have to be translated into the local just relevance of what you're faced with, and knowing your market statistics, knowing the answers, being able to gain respect and maintain respect with the consumers. And I think that's something, Michelle, to your point, and with as localized as you are, whether you are with a large company or a smaller boutique company or a local company or a national company, you've got to own the local market that's in your backyard and know it intimately, because if we're going to continue to try to increase our integrity and the respect that people have for us as industry professionals, we have to treat it like a business, and we have to know the answers, and we have to be constantly refining our skills. That's probably one of the reasons I love this industry so much, is because you never know it all, and you have to continually learn and grow, and you have to be willing to evolve. You know, when a new technology comes out, you know, think about it. The first time you heard whatever gamut of technology that has come into our space, you know, or right down to what was a short sale, you go, what is that? Now, how do I use it? How do I leverage it? How do I empower my people to be better to serve the consumer so that they can leverage it to make great moves in their next chapters and with their next moves? So, you know, I can speak to the fact of being able to be local no matter where you're at or who you're with. It's undeniably the secret ingredient, and everyone listening should spend more time knowing about their local market, what's happening in their streets, their blocks, their neighborhoods, their communities. And let me just say this, being a part of it, because the stats are out there that consumers trust us when they know we're a part of the community and that we're real people with real lives trying to make a difference in the communities and build better. So I'm taking it a little bit away from the tech stack, because don't get me wrong, I think that's huge. And we've spent a lot of time, we've worked very hard on our lead conversion, our SEO, all those pieces, making certain that our tech stack is integrated and that we're answering, you know, being able to empower our agents to answer the questions. But I'm going to keep driving it back to the human element of real estate. Which I always say the real wealth in this business is the relationships.
Yeah, I love that.
I agree. And by the way, your tech stack should leverage all of what you just said.
100%. And we're
I think
constantly
that's the
challenging it
struggle
to
with
make
the
certain.
agents would connect that together. You know, when I got in the space 20 years ago, I met an agent in North Carolina, and she's passed away since then. She was older. And I said, and I've always asked agents in coaching, and I've loved to turn this to Trishan because I've talked to him about this, is I ask agents, what do they like to do? And my one agent said he's a personal trainer. I said, great. Why don't you do, you know, personal training boot camps at the beach for free on a Saturday or Sunday? You'll get all the clients you need. And he started doing, then he started recruiting personal trainers to his team. He built a team of personal trainers, and they get all their business from, okay. So this agent turned me on to this because I was all about Google lead gen 20 years ago. And I said, what do you like to do on a call? And she said, I like to wine, dine, and have a good time with my clients. And that turned into a wine, dine, and good time once a month client appreciation, which turned into a petting zoo at her farm, which turned into food trucks, which turned into events, which turned into a stage, which turned into a lot of things like hyperlocal. So Deanne and Trishan, I can't agree with hyperlocalism is really about charity, about connecting and using your landing pages and your marketing pages and your Facebook to create a whole personal relationship with your community, and you need that all in your thing. So I turn that to Trishan because we've talked about that a lot. So I can't agree more with what you just said, Deanne.
I want to layer in one thing because I agree with both of you, and I want you to be able to look at something like ChatGPT and use the task feature on there, because everyone gets, if you're paying for it, you get 10 tasks that you can set up. One of those, at least one, should be, hey, every day at 5 a.m., send me the 5 trending things that are happening in my community, right? Or mine's easy, it's LA, right? Or Ventura, they're massive. But you should have that sent to you every morning so that you know what's happening. You can talk about it. Brian, if I want to go down your route and I want to
do it in our system.
More people, yeah. If I want to go down your route and attract more physical trainers, is that what it was?
Yeah, personal trainers.
Personal trainers. Then I just say, hey, what's the news of physical trainers, right? Or what's the news with collecting labubus, like, or whatever you're talking about. I don't know, right? But every day, what are the trends? And then pull, as well as second task, pull everything that's happening on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, and tell me what people are talking about when it comes to real estate, right? Now you have 2 tasks, and now you can go there and you could start the day way ahead. And then if you want to go that route and say, great, I like this one, make me a 60-second transcript. I'm going to pop it into my teleprompter app. I'm going to talk about it. Then I'm going to boost it out, then make me a graphic. Then I can go really local on this exactly what Deanna is saying. They got it. I'm the person that's going to win locally.
Hey, Tristan, let me comment right there, if I can, Michelle, just a thought you hit
Yeah,
on.
go ahead.
You know, with the shift of, homes for sale in Atlanta, Georgia, right? And trying to own that space. You just gave some really strong tactical action steps to start your day after you do your motivations, your affirmations, right? Gotta have the right mindset, but get that action plan and be able to answer the questions that are in the mind of the consumers. And that's probably been one of the greatest shifts in our training right now, is making certain that our associates are using all the resources of chat and AI, and we're building, all the different bots and things like that to help them do that appropriately. But they need to be able, not just when they go to that cocktail party, let's do the wine and dine piece, or if they're before a consumer, or if they're just putting information out on the social media, are they positioning themselves as the answer to all things local? And it might be, what are you going to do this weekend? It might be where to take an activity. It might be, how to go out the process, but how do we reformat? I remember when blogs first came out, right? And everybody was blogging every day an article, and it was just all this information. Well, now you got to shift that blog into, are you answering the questions that are on the mind of consumers today? And if you are, you're going to win the game at the end of the day, because you're meeting them with where their thought process is. So that's great advice, Tristan.
You want to be the answer, because it's answer engine optimization that's happening today. You got to have the answers and pose the questions in your content. It's all of what it's about, is be the local expert, which is our job.
So question for both of you guys. Is this something, Tristan, that you teach your agents how to do, or you're doing this for them?
No. So we a piece of it we're putting into play to do for them. So we are creating AI agents that pull this information for them and feeds it to them. The thing that we've found to be a challenge is actually creating videos for them. We've tried HeyGen, we've tried, it's just, look, people can tell it's AI and they want to see the actual person. So what we do is we help them. And I'll give you an example. One agent that's ex-attorney came in, really good agent, and we said, this is what you should do, set up a task. And he said, Tristan, I love talking about fostering animals, and I've got 2, and they're cute. And one of them's got like a tongue hanging outside of this, the cutest little dog, right? And he said, I'm going to talk about foster animals and that situation every day, whether it's an event or something. I'm like, great. 3 weeks ago, we started. And all of a sudden, it's like, you go to his TikTok, and it blew up, like literally overnight, because he was so niched, right? He was talking about one thing in one area. And now
what do you like to do?
What do you like to do? What's your passion? And they go to his profile. Oh, you're a real estate agent. So it happened so fast for this guy that I'm like, wow, it happened a little too fast. I didn't expect it to happen that fast.
Yeah,
but that's how fast it can happen.
It's super fast, guys. What do you like to do? What do you like to drink wine? You like to play golf? You like to fish? I ask agents this every day. Great, join all the groups, post content on what you like to do. You're not looking for buyers and sellers. You're trying to connect to homeowners or renters with your specialty. So you open up that door. So what you just described is the secret sauce to real estate in today's market.
Yeah. How about you, Dan? Are you teaching them how to do this? Are you doing it for them? What's your system?
Combo. We're teaching them what it is, and we're able to leverage a lot of the incredible national resources that we do have from our company, and I'm very grateful. But it's just like going to a big convention. You walk out with all these great ideas, and then what? So we're being very intentional in our local offices, and we're a very full service company, and we take such pride in that and being able to help them. And for all the brokers listening, as well as agents, what is this time of year traditionally when we look at business planning? So I would challenge every single one of you that's listening to this right now. What are you doing in your plan to finish Q4 strong, to leverage the ideas of being that hyper local expert if you're not already? And if you are, what are you going to do to keep doing it and leveraging the tools and technology and chat? And if 50% of the searches are going to start moving, I think we were talking about in our pre-call, over to some of the AI and chat features, how are you going to be there? are you going to be found? Because if you're not hyper local, you may be not seen moving forward in the world that we're experiencing. So if it means getting in masterminds, if it means working in small groups, as I always say to our team, you know, when you leave a training session or a workshop, I want you at least, if nothing else, to have accomplished one thing. Because think about it, if you accomplished one thing in this space of advancing yourself as the local expert, think about that today, tomorrow, 365 days from now, 10 years from now, and age old, no matter what the tech stack was, no matter who the competitors were, no matter what the market cycle, we know that being the trusted local expert is going to help you win the day every day. So no, training is a big piece, and teaching them the how to. And I could say this, for years, I know so many of us as brokers, you know, went through, oh, I wish you could provide more social media help. I wish you could do my social media for me. Trust me, we provide tons of help on things you can put on social media, but it's never going to be the same as if you organically do it from the heart and soul and from your own voice. And what means the most, back to what you said, Brian and Tristan, that's, you know, I can't hire somebody to do it as authentically as, and it may not, it sure won't be perfect with me and my Southern voice, right? It will not be perfect, but you're going to see who I am. So I think we're going to see the same thing more and more with chat and AI. You've got to do it. And everybody asks me, what's your favorite AI tool, or what should agents be doing with it? I say, whatever you're comfortable with. Just start trying to do something. Take one thing that you feel safe with, you know, and learn it, even if it's a month or it takes you 6 months to feel comfortable with it. Just like the first time you kind of said, what's a website? What's an email? We all went, ooh.
And
now
on
that's
on that note, at Lofty, what we're doing a little bit to help with this, and other companies is we build automation into our, like, social media posts to do all that general automation stuff. That AI is going to learn your voice a little bit. It doesn't, but we can't know that you like to play, you know, you like to garden. So the reality of it is let your AI work the generalization for you within your platform, but then that gives you time. And AI is really about 3 things in the market, and I'll just pivot to that, Michelle. It's about saving you time. It's about making you money, or creating or saving you money, and it's about providing you knowledge. That's what is driving AI today. In all AI, it's saving time, saving money, making money, or providing you knowledge. And that's what you're really using it for. So looking at your business today, how is in the system itself, in our AI system, it's all about what we're building is saving time, making money, and providing knowledge. But that's what agents should be looking at as a kind of a driver for them. How does it help me save my time? How does it help give me knowledge? And how does it provide knowledge to the consumer? At the end of the day, that's what the AI is really driving. Answer engine. That's what it is. That's what's going to drive it. It's those 3 factors. So take away the scariness of it, that you have to build something. It isn't that. Okay? It isn't that. It's just what it is. Does it save you time? Does it make you money? Does it save you money? And does it give you some knowledge that you can use in your business? They keep it simple.
I would tie in something here with what Deanne said when you're saying you're listening to some webinar, or you're in person watching something. It's like, what's that one thing you're going to take from there? I love that idea, because we're listening right now and we're like, yeah, but I can't do that and that and that. And this is a lot, right? So I think what I would do is, this is where, Brian, yeah, I think you're looking at those 3 things that AI can do for you. I'd go to something like Google Notebook LM and grab this webinar once it's up on wherever it's up, right? Tie it to Google Notebook LM, right? And then you're listening in as a broker or a team leader. You already have what you stand for. You already have your strengths, hopefully, on something, whether it's a mission, vision, and you've got your tech stack on a Google Doc. Upload that as well. Now you've got 2 things. And then just simply say, hey, based on what this webinar was about with Deanne and Brian and Tristan and Michelle, what can I do based on the strengths that I have and my agents? What can I do? And knowing that I use Lofty as our CRM, what are my opportunities? And then when it goes through, it'll literally outline your opportunities for you. And if you're like, and I don't want to read it, then just click a button and say, great, make it a podcast so I can listen to it. And now all of a sudden you're listening to it. So that's what I was thinking when you guys were talking.
Love that. So we're coming into the last quarter of 2025, believe it or not. It seems like it was just January and we're already here. What do you guys see for 2026? What do you see for real estate next year, for your company, for you within your company, for the agents, the industry? What do you want to see, and what do you think you're going to see? And Brian, I'll start with you.
You know, Deanne, you said something most important. It's been this way for 20 years. You got to plant your trees now. You're planting for, if you're not planting your market right now, and you're not planting your business flags, your trees, your apple trees, and you expect to go in the next year with the way the trends are going, you're going to buy ready-made leads at the table to buy into next year. With what Zillow's doing, the pivot to Flex may not even exist next year. We don't know. At the end of the day, we don't know. If you're not planting your hyper local flags right now, what you said, and I mean, and just focusing on both free, paid, whatever it is, just start planting your flags now. That's going to set you up for next year. And I can't emphasize that enough to agents. So I think what everybody said here is preparing in the next year, thinking forward of hyperlocalism is next year. That is what's going to drive this business. And so planting that hyperlocal flag, whether it be blasting on Facebook, you know, and I'm not going to get into our products, you can find out when we do at the end. But the reality is leveraging something and doing it every day to plant a hyperlocal engagement. Every single day you can do anything. That's 2020. That's now. That's already started. So you better be starting now for 2026. That's the secret. That's now.
How about you, Deanne?
Yeah, I would say don't let up going into fourth quarter, because this is going to be the time to really keep planning. You know, here in Atlanta, we've got inventory levels are up 30%, right? We're getting back into that more normal 4.9 months of inventory. So we're starting to feel a little bit more normalcy, not totally, but we are for the first time in a long time. And so, you know, to me, one of my big mantras going into the end of this quarter as well as into 2026 is let's use this as our defining time once and for all. NAR statistics, for as long as I can remember, have said 89%, I think is the stat, give or take, have always said that they found value in what we do, but they don't always come back to us. And if we aren't doing what gets them coming back to us now more than ever, our consumers will go to a machine. Our consumers will go to a third party. And so my biggest, you know, just focus for this coming year is what can we do to ensure that we are that evergreen place where people know they can come back, and we're going to guide them, and we're going to help them build their lifestyles, and we're going to help them make great financial investments for not just one move, as I said earlier, but for all of them. And so, you know, I'd like this to be the defining headline. I'd like this to be the news that takes over the media a year from now. How about like just even 3 months from now? That we're doing what it takes as the humans driving the piece of real estate and moving soil and opening doors and moving people forward, to be able to know that the consumer is coming back to us. So that's my soapbox. And just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid of these new technologies. Don't be afraid of ChatGPT. You know, don't be afraid of AI. Use them to leverage. And Brian, I loved your 3. I think those are spot on. Those are my 3. And I also tell our people, use them to operationalize, if you will, the experience that you're able to deliver as just normal. And then you go above and beyond to make it even more exceptional and personalized. Now, that should be the normal course of action that we're providing everyone, every time, every sale. But now you can spend more and more of your time out with your people, face to face, in the community, showing them the local market and the opportunities. So let's get back in touch with our people is how I'll close it. And that is off the screen, that is off the text, and that's meeting them where they're at, which is in our communities.
Tristan,
Well said.
Tell us what we need to know for 2026 and the last quarter of 25.
I'm looking at the world that we're in being a lot more centered around social media and the way we communicate, and AI enhancing that. So knowing that, I think we just show up better as humans and pay attention to each other. Very, like exactly what Deanne said, like we're not going to win this battle. We don't just show up to care, to connect, to nurture, to love, because we don't want them to end up with with the automation that's going to be set by Rocket and Redfin. We don't want them to be engulfed in the whole Zillow Flex situation, right? We want to give our agency opportunity to thrive through all the changes that are happening by giving them amazing tools like Lofty, where it's just an all-in-one, and layering in, well, how do we show up where everyone else is showing up, right? How do we show up there better? Because that's where things happen first. And I think that's where some of us have to take that leap and say, okay, got it. I'm really terrible at it, but who cares? Let's do that. I think that's the hard part.
Yeah,
that's wrong.
I agree. Brian, I'm going to let you bring us home.
So, everybody, we're all dead on, on everything we're saying here. From a tactical standpoint, if I'm an agent in the space, and I've been an agent, my wife's an agent, I can tell you I talk to agents every day and they're just confused. They're just bottom line confused. So what I'd like to tell everybody listening to this is your broker, simplify everything. Start to simplify the message to your agents. Keep it real simple, like Deanne. And if the bottom line, everybody asks you, what's the best technology? There's no secret sauce to this. And Lofty has an incredible tech stack. It keeps it simple. I've had, if you knew my background, you guys anybody on this message wants to look me up on LinkedIn, you can see where I've been. Christian's been multiple products with me over the years. What I would tell you is that it comes down to this. At the end of the day, it makes your phone ring or it gives you somebody to call. It gives you somebody to shake their hand or take them to lunch. That means that instead of trying to work or do things in your business every day that give you things to do, if it's not things that make your phone ring, that give you people to call, and you're not doing one thing a day every day to learn a way to make your phone ring or to give you people to call or to meet somebody, and that's not something every day that does it, then you're not probably wasting your time doing it. So you need to make sure your time is spent on people, and everything that you do is positive towards people in that relationship. And you are an expert listening to this, and your brokers are experts. We somehow went to buy leads, and I'm so tired of hearing that. At the end of the day, it's people. Stop treating people like leads. No one wants to be treated like a lead. Deanne, do you want to be treated like a lead? Michelle, do you like being treated like a lead in the business today? Do you, Tristan, like being treated like leads? Right?
I want you to lead me, Brian.
I'm tired of hearing that everybody's looking for a lead when you're looking for people in real estate. We're people. So start collecting, take your tech stack, like a Lofty, like a FUB. I don't care who we talk about today. We integrate with FUB. We integrate with a lot of these. We're all about, but it's about marketing and people. So what I would like to say to everybody listening to this, and if you're a broker, ask yourself one question. Are you providing tech stacks that are letting your agents dominate connecting to people? Are they really connecting the people? And CRMs are not growing people. CRMs are where you send your leads to put them on drip campaigns, which no one likes to be on. We have to be more. We have to be a people system. You have to have that. So my message to everybody on this call, whether it be Lofty as a CRM, a choice option for your brokerages, Michelle, and I've talked to all the brokers that are out there, and what I find is that they're not giving their agents enough ways to connect to people. And if we can do that, then we're going to win what you just said, Deanne. We're going to win the market because only 7% of people buy on Zillow when they have appointments. That means there's 93% out there that aren't buying through portals. They're not buying their business that way. They still want to connect to us. We need to do a better job of getting them in our funnel early. We need to start connecting with them in the hyperlocal before they ever go to Zillow. And the only way to do that is treat them like people, not leads.
I agree 100%. So there we go. There's a QR code if you want a demo with Lofty. And I think this is an amazing panel, really talking about how, all real estate is local and how do you dominate locally? And that involves tech, making sure that you keep in touch with, don't take the people element out of it. And I think just learned a lot today. Super excited to spend the last hour with you.
It was great. I love all your guys' comments. Thank you so much for joining this webinar with our company. Really enjoy it, Tristan, Michelle, Deanne. Looking forward to working with you guys in the future, and hopefully we can get together. Michelle, I'd love to talk to you. I've worked with First Team for many years, so I love your organization. So I'd love to come up, and if you ever want to come up there, I'd love to meet you guys in person. Hey, Tristan, thank you so much for coming today, and Deanne, thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys.